Cats, cops, and C4. She stares at him, the strange man sitting opposite. Oh, she recognized him. The human that fought her best agent, an attack drone from the Lanrak. Warladi Klaba and Edge without hesitation. That he ended up with backup almost immediately meant little. He looked at 4 women who could slaughter armies and didn't even hesitate. But now, there was just silence. Silence and darkness. Only a single light illuminated the room, revealing him sitting opposite of her, the table between them and nothing else. Why isn't he saying anything? He's just looking at her, glaring at her. Without any input from her higher mind, her feathers start pricking up in nervousness. What was his plan? What is he doing? Why won't he say anything? So this is a legitimate interrogation technique? Chief Bowman asks. She knows that private stream is just a face for any number of short or undaunted. She has mentally pegged this one as a me-tac. There's a certain hidden aggression to him that's rare in Gobes and Cobes and many other shorter races. It is. It's all about making a very uncomfortable, very easily broken silence. The other side wants to fill it up as it's unnatural and strange. So they start talking. Then they have a hard time stopping. Then as they babble, things start to slip. That's right. You don't have to touch them, threaten them, or even do anything but watch then and not look happy. It doesn't work for everyone, but it works on enough people that it's usually worth a try. And since it deals no harm, physical or psychological, it's perfectly legal and moral. I'm just shocked that it's counted as an interrogation method at all. We've got another on standby, although it'll have to be quick. Sir Philip is a busy man, Private Stream says before laughing. It's actually the origin of Private Stream. Really? What's the second interrogation method? Confusion. An old but clearly mentally gone commander blunders into the room, makes no clear or intelligible statement while being trailed by 2 very clearly exasperated aides, one of which is the ever-eager Private Stream, and they engage the subject in a conversation that rambles, confuses, and lowers their guard so much that they end up blurting out all kinds of useful information. Private Stream explains, and Chief Bowman snorts in amusement. I'd put good coin down to see that. If we don't have to use it, I'll see about having a low-priority interrogation declassified for you. It's a hell of a show. I was actually reluctant to be a Private Stream until after I saw that. Then my doubts faded away. Speaking of, one of your soldiers started explaining the numerous protections on his communicator. He didn't even get to the really interesting bits. Trust me, even if there's someone on the take in the station and listening in, they're not going to get that information. Good. Very good. We take our security very seriously, Private Stream notes before smirking. There is one more precaution I can tell you about. Really? Yes, you see, the moment the information is no longer needed out in the field, it goes back into storage, which is in a highly protected location. Hard to steal something when it's not in grabbing distance. That's just practical, as is telling someone about some of the security measures they nearly triggered. If someone's about to step on an explosive, you don't just let them do it. You pull them back and inform them of the danger. Private Stream says, that's a disturbing analogy. I've got worse, I don't doubt it. She could feel his eyes raking across her brain. The silence was horrific. She couldn't even hear him breathing as he just glared at her. Was he even alive? Was he even real? She reaches out to poke him, and he grabs her finger and holds her still. He lets her go shortly, but still. The silence grows deeper and she looks around. She can feel more eyes boring into her, scraping against her very bones. It's happening, Private Stream says in a giddy voice. He hasn't done anything but stopped her from touching him, Chief Bowman says in slight awe. That's the beauty. She's doing it all to herself. She's expecting an interrogation so much, she's giving herself one, Private Stream says giddily. But it gets better. How? She's in a heightened state of awareness. She knows we're watching. Get more people here to watch and we help out the interrogation without breaking any law or moral or anything, Private Stream explains. And after a few moments of thought, Chief Bowman agrees. The sensation grows worse as she stares at her interrogator. He hasn't said a single word, just glaring at her. His piercing gaze feels like a pair of lasers boring into her very soul as a forest of eyes seem to scrape along her back. The hell is going on? How is he doing this? Why is he doing this? Stop this, she says, and the sound of her voice causes relief. Oh, that's your game. Silence as a weapon. Because silence is the sign of a predator. He gives her a renewed glare. She knows she has him. Well, too bad, because I can bring noise into the silence, and you, Mr. Officer, can't do a thing to stop me. You see, this is the problem with rules and those who follow them. It leaves you weak, predictable. I know that no matter what I say, you won't reach over this table and hit me. Isn't that right? Tell her that's right, Private Stream says into his communicator and smiles as Cenk tells Keela Hayes that she's right. Why would you tell him to say that? Vera asks as she watches along. She and many others had shown up to pack the room and increase the sensation of the criminal being watched. Just watch, Private Stream says in an eager tone. Yes, that's right. I can say whatever and you can't stop me. She gloats at him. You do have the right to speak, he says. You really don't get who you're dealing with, do you? What kind of enemy you've made today? He says nothing, just glares at her. But she pushes it aside. It was a childish tactic to think it would work on her. And now she's going to... Oh, you bastard. You almost got me babbling. She realizes, and he raises an eyebrow. Very impressive. Few have the self-awareness to actually realize they're being played like that, he says, and she wants to preen, but doesn't. He's using all kinds of mental tricks, and she has to be on guard, which of course leads to a very interesting question. And that would be, why did you think it intelligent to steal police evidence? Especially when the precinct in question is openly allied to a foreign military of apex lunatics. You openly admit to being crazy? Yes, after all, we're leaving this in the hands of those restrained and rule-abiding police officers. But you are one. I'm a chemical explosive expert on loan to this precinct. I am still first and foremost a soldier. But that's not important right now. What is important is a very simple question. Which is, would it have been worth it? Chunk asks, and she looks at him oddly. Meaning? Imagine for a moment that instead of pulling a fast one and switching out the evidence with a homing beacon, you instead got the evidence. Do you even know what it was? What it could do? What it's done? What would you have done with it? You can't arrest someone on hypothetical answers and what-ifs. If you could, then most authors the galaxy over would be rotting in a cell. Which is why the answer won't be incriminating you. This is an honest question. Imagine that instead of it turning out into a giant fight, only you sent an agent, and she was able to snatch the evidence out of my hands and was gone and safe before I had any idea what was going on. What then? To tell the truth, it wouldn't have happened. I only make moves like this when others are. I take advantage of chaos. I don't cause it. Why not? There's plenty of advantage to be found in causing mayhem. Because stupid if I get caught, like now, then the sentence is so much worse for being the instigator. But now, since I was acting in opposition to other parties, and most importantly the provoking party, I get a much lighter sentence. I know the song and dance. The most I'm personally getting is 10 years. A plea deal will drop at least 3 off the top. Good behavior saves me another 4. 3 years I'm out, a few months with a lawyer later, and I can get a full acquittal. Record scrubbed, problem solved. Interesting. This sounds like experience talking. And this sounds like attempted entrapment. I suppose it does. New topic then. If you're so eager and willing to throw the other girls under the bus, let's talk about them. What would being under a bus have to do with anything? Human expression. Back home, the buses are heavy-wheeled vehicles, and if you're under them, well, it means you're usually about to die. So throwing someone under the bus is, you know what? Never mind. We're off topic. Making me more comfortable and chummy won't work either. I'm aware you're up to mind games now. Being aware of a mind game is one thing. Resisting it is another entirely. Cenk says. So how does a chemical explosive expert learn how to interrogate like this? She asks, and after a moment he grins. Because you're being interrogated by proxy. I'm just the mouth and hands of this operation. The real interrogator is behind you, past the darkness and past the one-way wall. Those eyes you felt earlier when you were getting nice and paranoid? They were real. You have a small force watching you even now, studying you, surveying you, as you lie exposed, obvious, and Cenk explains, and then her hand slams down on the table. That's enough of that. Are you sure? Cenk asks. I'm not entirely certain you've gotten the point yet. The point is that you have laws and procedures you must follow. Therefore, you are not going to hurt me. You are going to return my property to me legally, and I am going to cooperate with the judge and only the judge. I don't have to give you so much as the time of day. If the Undaunted don't pull jurisdiction. What? I'm a state asset to the Undaunted. An operative in your employ has attacked me while I was carrying out lawful duties. This could be seen as an act of war, which removes you nicely from the protections of this precinct, this spire, and from the protections of Centris as a whole. We can ask for extradition fairly easily. It's only good manners that has us avoiding stepping on the toes of others. Or perhaps treading on the tails. Nagasha are fairly prevalent the galaxy over. And what would happen if I were extradited to the Undaunted? That's classified, I'm sure. But the more reasonable question to ask is, what do you think the Undaunted think of your little stunt? If this course of action gets you 10 years here, 3 off for a plea deal, then 4 for good behavior, followed by lawyering up and getting your record clean, so it's a first-time offense the next time, making you down a total of 3 years and 3 months maybe. Then what kind of sentencing do you think will occur when you're under Undaunted control? Does it matter? 3 years or 300? There's no real difference. Oh yes, there is, Cenk states, and she pauses. You see, due to us being initially from cruel space, we wrote a lot of our laws and considerations with that kind of mindset. You see, some of us are still kind of leery around healing comas and the like. We don't like that they can erase the mind or the mind copy can be stolen. So they're not required by any branch of the Undaunted excepting very specific forces. They're legally considered a vanity and as such not available to prisoners. That, and unless my informant, Cenk turns his head and taps at the device in his left ear, is much mistaken, the average cloaken lifespan without a healing coma is 77 years, a respectable lifetime. But far less than 300 years, I'm sure you agree, especially seeing as you seem to have reached the physical age of your early to mid-20s, which means that 50 years in an Undaunted prison could slowly and legally kill you. She says nothing and just stares at him. You would, wouldn't you? We take attacks on ourselves very seriously, and while we don't like getting our hands dirty like this, we like leaving jobs half done even less. So for the sake of the record, could you please tell me your name and title? Keela Hayes, the mind of the unseen eyes. Is there a proper way to address you, Miss Hayes? Miss Hayes is fine,